The Willy Wonka Experience is the gift that keeps on giving. A couple of weeks ago I made a video talking about it and how it was pretty much perceived as the worst event ever. But after complete silence from the organizer, we finally have an update about this catastrophe, and now I can safely say with the utmost confidence, it just got worse. I don't normally like to give follow-ups regarding events I've already talked about, but since the world still seems to be laughing at this, I felt like it was appropriate. So this all started after a user on the platform formerly known as Twitter posted this update where the creator of the event, Billy Cole, explains the impact this disaster had on him, claiming he lost everything, was made out to be the face of evil, received a ton of hate messages, and was dubbed Willy Wonka. That last remark actually gave me a hearty giggle. I'm not going to act like I've been following the aftermath of this event, but that doesn't sound like something that would come out of a human's mouth. That sounds like something Billy's AI would conjure up to gain sympathy. But then again, he is based in the UK, so it could just be an English thing. However, what I know is 100% false is him claiming that AI was only used for spell checking the Wonka scripts. That is one of the biggest lies ever told, right up there with Billy Mitchell claiming his high score in Donkey Kong was legit. You're not fooling anyone, brother. You used AI-generated images to promote the whole event. Even the poster that you published to your website advertising a paradise of sweet teats. Don't be trying to convince us it was only used for spell checking when that is the last thing that was taken into account. The only thing that actually surprised me from this tweet was the discovery that Billy Cole had published 16 AI generated books prior to the Willy Wonka Experience. But just like everything else regarding the House of Illuminati, which I'll talk about more later, seems to have been scrubbed from the face of the internet. However, what hasn't been erased yet is this documentary that was uploaded prior to the tweet where Billy Cole shares his experience and talks about the aftermath of the event. So let's take a look at that.
The organizer of the failed Willy Wonka-inspired experience in Scotland breaks his silence in a new UK documentary. Billy Cole, director of the House of Illuminati organization that put on the Willy Wonka-inspired event in Glasgow, Scotland last month, claims he's received lots of hate messages following the experience.
I have no doubt he received a ton of hate from it. After all, it really can't even be considered an event, as it was pretty much a scam since he falsely advertised everything that would be included, with his main form of promotion being AI-generated images. Though in actuality, it's less hate and more just the internet collectively coming together to poke fun at him.
I have lost my friends, I've lost the love of my life. I was made out to be the face of all evil, and genuinely that's really not the case.
You're right, I don't really think that's the case. Apologies if I don't believe you, Billy, but I don't think you lost your friends, family, and love of your life just because of this disaster. I'm sure if you did, then there must be a whole other can of worms that's yet to be addressed. Also, nobody's making you out as the face of evil. Again, we're just laughing at you.
I was sick to the pit in my tummy. I had a whole host of emotions. I was hoping for an event that would be joyful, happy. I wanted people to experience happiness.
From going to a dirty warehouse for 40 bucks? I don't know what sane person gets a kick out of being scammed, but just looking at these pictures from the actual event paints a pretty good image that this isn't where you go for fun. This is where fun goes to die. We've all seen the clips, Billy. You made children cry. How you couldn't have foreseen this is beyond comprehension. I'm not going to analyze the whole documentary since it really doesn't justify anything. I just wanted to give you all the cliff notes so you can get the gist of what happened. Basically, it was a desperate attempt by Billy Cole to stay relevant by tugging on people's heartstrings, despite how rather than accepting his failure and using it as a learning lesson, seemed to have paid every penny to the shadow government in order to remove any trace of his failures from the internet. Like I said before, I think there was a whole other can of worms that led to his downfall and why he claims everybody left him. Most likely what I think happened is because these were the people that were closest to him, they knew what was really going on behind the scenes with him and his company, House of Illuminati. With just a quick Google search, if you try to find any of their official pages, you'll notice just about everything from their website to Facebook page has been taken down. The only thing that remains that can give us some insight to this organization, other than the Willy Wonka Experience, is a single government website that records the filing history of businesses. And if you look up House of Illuminati, you'll see its entire 5 months of existence has just been Billy Cole as the owner and sole employee. Now, for those of you who were unaware, prior to the Willy Wonka disaster, House of Illuminati was roughly a well-known company in England/Scotland, or at least that's what they were under the impression of. What they were known for? I don't know. Maybe his 16 books were bestsellers in the UK until it was revealed they were AI generated. Listen, I'm not an investigative reporter, so take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, but if all the information I uncovered is to be accurate, then this goober actually tried to establish a company consisting of nothing but AI, which the evidence really seems to suggest. Until this abomination was released and he came out from the shadows, nobody really knew anything about them, which might have helped Billy gain investors and donations for his projects. I mean, hats off to this master of deception. He actually managed to fool an entire nation that his company of nothing but AI could be anything other than terrible. Obviously, while that seems to be the only disaster under his company, that's not the only scam Billy has to his name. A couple years back, prior to pioneering House of Illuminati, Billy canceled a Santa's Grotto after already collecting toy donations. That is diabolical, and I want to thank Culture Craves for finding this archive because it's actually impressive how Billy Cole managed to cover up his past online. He must have ordered some kind of digital variant dust filter for his Hoover Max because it's only after the Willy Wonka experience that his past is slowly coming back to haunt him. Also, I can't help but notice, Billy, that all your scams seem to be at the expense of children, which is really messed up. So yeah, I don't think the disaster that was the Willy Wonka experience caused him to lose everything like he claimed. Truthfully, I think he just said that in hopes of plaguing off people's sympathy. I really find it hard to believe that his wife just up and left him after this disaster. Was just like, I'ma head out. You failed me one too many times, Billy. If that's true, then that is actually something straight out of Darman. Again, I'm not an investigative reporter. If he truly was abandoned by everyone he knew, then it was because they knew him as nothing but a bullshitter and con artist. Which is fair. I wouldn't trust Billy to throw any sort of event after this. Not even a birthday party for a 1-year-old. And I know I've mainly just been roasting this clown, but I truly find it admirable that for a brief moment, he gave an entire nation hope in an AI organized event. I really wish he didn't remove every trace of his existence online because this could be a story for the ages. Nobody even knew what the man looked like until he started playing his sad song on the world's smallest violin, yet somehow he managed to get a high enough fan base and scrape together enough cash throughout the years to host some of the worst events in human history. What's even worse is how he didn't lean into this. Despite being a complete failure, there was a hidden gem from the Willy Wonka experience. The unknown was such a phenomenon that there's now talk about a potential horror movie, which for those of you who don't know, the unknown was Billy's AI-generated character who was an evil chocolate maker that lived inside the walls. Honestly, the whole event works better leaning into the horror genre anyways. I would absolutely pay money to see a movie about the unknown. A monster who uses deception to lure children into his evil factory for malicious deeds. Horror movies are some of the easiest cash grabs known to man, and just for $1 million, you can easily turn over a profit tenfold. He was sitting on a gold mine with one of the most talked about things since Fire Festival, and he completely disowned it. He really can't do anything right. So much so that I'm starting to wonder if he uses AI like a coin flip. Just has it decide every aspect of his life, including this pathetic excuse for a documentary. I will admit, I did feel something inside my empty heart after watching it and hearing how he speaks, but then I remembered that's the whole point of these documentaries, to make us sympathize with people who don't really deserve sympathy at the moment. I'm not saying we shouldn't forgive Billy. After all, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have gotten this hilarious disaster, but it's not happening overnight. Anyways, that about summarizes this update to the Willy Wonka experience. I don't know how much of what Billy says is true. Maybe he really did hit rock bottom, and if that's truly the case, then at least the only place he can go now is up. Hopefully he uses this as a learning experience and betters himself going forward, but that's really about it. So